Hey everybody, I'm Alex. I'm the CEO of Dock, new company I'm building, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we're creating in the product. So Dock is a new company that'll help you manage your external relationships, and we do that by helping you create these shared spaces with your prospects and customers. It becomes kind of the single destination for those relationships and all the different resources you're sharing back and forth. And you're probably thinking, why is this important? And if you've ever been in B2B sales or the CX side of things, it's pretty messy, right? You have the selling team, right? The account executive, solutions engineering, their manager, all the people sort of on the product side. And then you have the buyers team. And in the middle, you are trading back and forth all sorts of different resources, information as the buyer is trying to make a purchasing decision, right? There's tons of different stakeholders involved. There's tons of different assets and resources you're sharing kind of along that customer journey. And it becomes pretty messy, especially as you move up market. And I think the same is true on the customer success side of things where, someone bought a piece of software, they're getting a service and they're trying to understand how do they kind of get the best use out of it? How do they get started easily? Things like that. And so B2B sales and CX is really messy, and today it's all lost in email threads. People have these long email threads where they're going back and forth and sharing resources, and they're sharing these different spreadsheets and software. And I think anyone who's been in this world before definitely empathizes with this graphic. And what Dock does very simply is we're trying to transform this buyer experience and create this single destination for resources and collaboration, right? All the resources in one place to make it really easy for the account executive to build a repeatable process, but also for the buyer on the other side to always understand where they need to go when they need something, and to have a resource to share across the organization when they are trying to get buy-in for a purchasing decision. And so now I'm going to kind of walk you through the actual product and show you what it looks like. So I'll start by showing you the client view. So this is what a client will experience. So sales rep sends this over to a customer. They put in their email address here. You have a couple different sharing permissions with this email modal. It's not a real login. You can create a passcode if you want, but then you are brought to a doc space. So keep in mind as we look through this, everything you see, the content, the layout is completely customizable. So this is what a doc space looks like. This is what it'll look like for your clients. In this example, Viva is the fake company. They are selling to Nike. And so at the top, we have kind of our nav bar. This is completely customizable, all the different layouts. And in this example, they're all just anchor links, right? In this example, I put an overview at the top to kind of show empathy, to show that you're listening to the buyer, and a little bit about the point of contact. That's the salesperson, me. One of the first kind of widgets we've built into Dock are these mutual action plans. And so in this example, it's a mutual action plan. I'll show you another one in a minute where it's an implementation plan. But basically all the steps to get a deal done. You can have multiple phases. You can, cancel out or complete different steps. You can have different statuses. You can assign either a person or a team to a different task. And then there's also due dates as well. And then for each step, right, you have the ability to add comments. You could tag people, add files, so on and so forth. So most people today are doing mutual action plans in a Google Sheet, and it's a very subpar experience. And so we're trying to really level up that experience here. And so you can kind of get a sense of what it would look like in Dock. And we're actually building more functionality into this feature pretty soon. And then one of the really cool parts about Dock is that we can really embed whatever we want into here. And so this is kind of a product overview section. We have a Loom video recording here, previous recordings, linking out to kind of different product places on the site. You can see here we have demo slides, right? Embedded from Google. One cool thing people are actually doing is demoing right out of Dock. And so they can come in here, enter full screen, do the deck thing, go back into Dock, go review the mutual action plan with their clients and things like that. So we think Dock can really help with the virtual selling experience. We also give the ability to have these PDFs, right? And so we'll actually preview them directly in line here, or you can actually collapse the preview if you want, and then the customer can just download these or view them actually, right, in the Dock space. And so we think this is a nicer package for all the different collateral you're sharing back and forth. And then the rest of this information is just all the different things you would share in a sales cycle, right? Customer service information, customer case studies. You can have a logo bar linking out to the different resources. You can embed a customer case study video. Here's a security and privacy overview, ROI analysis. This is a Google Sheet embedded. This is a report, pricing, and trial setup. And so you can see, right, we're taking that really messy process you saw on the previous slide and really trying to simplify it into one space. And we're building the ability for you to make it really easy to update this space over time, right? So as the relationship progresses, you can really update it. And one of the cool things with Doc is, this is a really sales example, but we really are striving to be kind of this end-to-end, experience from demo follow-up to implementation and beyond. And so here's what a customer success example looks like. So same sort of modal here, and you could actually take that sales space and update it. But for the sake of the demo, keeping it simple here. Pretty similar layout at the top you see in this example, but we've obviously changed out the content to make it more CX friendly. And so here we have our kickoff slides, right, for the product kickoff. You have all these getting started resources. We can really help with end user enablement. So this is a video course or help center. And then we have these different phases of the implementation process, right? Implementation checklists. Here's how you set up the employee data integration. Here's a Loom video. And then we have phase 2. And so these spaces can be really molded and changed based off the process and become this go-to destination for your customers. So now I'm going to show you the back end and show you how you actually build these spaces, because as I mentioned before, it's really flexible, and this is kind of where the power of Doc really lives. All right, let me pull this up here. So this is the back end. So this is the editor. And the way Doc works is you basically make changes in the editor here, you publish it to the client side. Here's where you have those different permissions. You can toggle that email modal you saw at the beginning on and off. You could add a passcode if you want. And to share it, you just simply copy the link and send it over. Here we have analytics. And so as people view the space, right, you're getting email notifications. You're being able to see who is viewing it. And I didn't click on an asset yet, so it's not a great example. I'll show you another one, but we'll also show you what they're clicking on and who they're viewing it and who's viewing what, so on and so forth. The way the editor works is you basically think of it in terms of these different sections. And so each section you can see in the mini map here corresponds to a different theme. And then sections are made up of these different content blocks. And the content blocks can be made up of text like you see here. You can upload files, you can upload images. You can basically upload whatever you want in here, right? And then it'll display in kind of a really beautiful way. We also support a lot of different embeds, right? Loom videos, Google Slides, actually even things not on here like Looker. We need to update this list. And then over time, we're building more of these different widgets like the mutual action plan, which you see here, to kind of create the different steps. And so it becomes really easy to build your doc space. You can add rows, you can adjust the layouts and the columns, right? So you can really design a space that works for you. And then you basically just kind of add these different sections over time. Now, the way most people use Doc and the way I think about using it is you kind of create a template, right? And so you spend time setting up the editor once, doing this work. And then on the day-to-day, you're really duplicating. And so let's say we're taking that enterprise sales example here, right? And we want to duplicate it. And let's say we want to duplicate the same work we did for Nike for Webflow. And so all we'll do is actually create the client. We do our best to find the website for you and the logo. Shout out Clearbit for helping us with that. We'll create the client, and then you give it a new title. And then all of the information you saw previously is populated into Webflow. And so this client now you can take all the learnings from that previous one, and all you need to do now is switch out the names and add some steps to the mutual action plan. And so our goal is to really help you build this repeatable process. And over time, we plan to automate all of this, right? So with dynamic variables, we should even be able to stop you from having to even change out the words. Now, I kind of touched on it quickly here, but this is the other side of Doc. And so here on the home screen, right, you get a kind of running list of all the activity across all the different spaces, and you can see all the different people viewing the spaces. And if people clicked on something, you'd be able to see what they viewed, what they clicked on, so on and so forth. And then Doc is organized very simply by clients and spaces. And so each client, right, has a number of different spaces tied to it if you want, and then it becomes really easy to duplicate them and look at other people's spaces across the company. And so going back into here, this is that space again, and you just make those changes. So hopefully this was a good kind of rundown of Doc. To learn more about Doc, please just visit our website, doc.us. and click get started, and you'll set up some time with me and we can run through a product demo. But yeah, really excited to help you transform your customer experience. And we're building a really new cool tool. I think unbiased. But yeah, excited to show it to you, and it's free to get started right now. So there's no better time than now. Thanks so much for listening.